Hello guys, it's Stephen here back with another video. Manchester City have just beat Preston 3-0 on the night. They're through to the fourth round of the Carabao Cup, and we saw plenty of youngsters and there's absolutely loads to talk about. But before I do that, as ever, I want to say thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this channel. OneFootball, you're absolutely awesome. It's my favourite app bar none. Loads of great stats, loads of great articles, loads of great news about Manchester City. So go and download it in the link in the description below. I've been plugging this app for ages, and if you haven't downloaded it yet, you're a muppet in the best possible way. So go and download it in the link in the description below. Nicola laughing at me calling people a muppet over there. That's how I sell apps on this channel, apparently. I insult people. I'm kidding. You're all wonderful and I love you all. Anyway, let's get on to this game. A mature display is the best way to describe that, really. I know we had a considerably better team than Preston now, and Preston did rest a whole bunch of players, but this still was an exciting lineup, one that we could learn plenty from, and one that we could get loads of little kind of stories from. I'll go for the lineup initially. It was very fun, very exciting. That back four, obviously the senior figure Bravo there, who's older combined than the centre-back pairing of Taylor, Harwood-Bellis and Eric Garcia, 17 and 18, so 35, and Bravo's 36. They're only a year older than me combined, which is depressingly bleak, but yeah, that showed how young they were, with Angelino at left-back starting, and the new guy, Joao Cancelo, I think I got that right, though. So basically, we had a very experimental, very different back four, and it was really fun to watch that and see how it developed. Ahead of them, we had Gundogan, we had David Silva and Phil Foden getting his first start of the season with Bernardo, Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. So we went pretty strong midfield onwards. It was just a defence that had a really kind of different look to it. But going forward, it was a pretty strong team. Preston would not have been happy seeing that lineup. I mean, the fans must have been fearing the worst. And it was only 3-0 in the end. If we're being honest, it could have been about 5 or 6 who had really gone through the gears. But we didn't really need to. And that was understandable given the night, given the focus, given the fact that the players didn't want to get injured and all that kind of stuff. And it was a game that's pretty much won just before half time. We started pretty strongly. It was like a kind of very kind of niggly first 15 minutes. Like Preston was snapping into challenges. Let me just get my notes up here. And they were kind of kicking us a little bit. And that only really served just to wind Raheem Sterling up. He had a decent snapshot on the 15-minute mark before he scored easily the goal of the game. A genuinely fantastic world-class goal. The kind of goal that a world-class player scores when he wants to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And Garcia kind of fed it into him, so he got an assist. But if we're being honest, it was a very mild assist because all the work came from Raheem Sterling. He got on the halfway line, he turned, he ran straight at the heart of Preston's defence, he kept running past people, he kept shimmying and feinting, and eventually he finished it. Wonderful pace, wonderful desire, wonderful strength, and a fantastic little goal. Gabriel Jesus was on fire as well in that first half with some lovely kind of Brazilian moments of magic, scooping the ball over players' head, and eventually he did get his goal, a goal that he definitely deserved in this game. He could have had a couple more maybe, but the goal he got, he definitely deserved. It was a great play as well from Sterling through the middle, played it into him, Gabriel Jesus down the left channel, and he drilled it into the net. And then we got the final goal just before half-time, and it came courtesy of like a David Silva cross, but it was basically a deflection. It was an own goal we got in, and that was basically it really for the game. Preston in that first half did have a couple of small chances, but nothing major. And the second half was really just a procession. Honestly, it was never really it was never really testing for either team, we're being totally honest. City kind of went through the motions. There was a couple of changes. Adrian and Bernabé got on. We got to see Mendy get a little bit of time, and Mahrez strangely as a substitute. But other than that, City kind of went through a little bit. Preston nearly scored. They hit the post as Garcia kind of lost his marker a little bit. Angelino set up Gabriel Jesus, who should have scored. He also should have scored at the end, where I think it was Foden, after some great play from Bernabé, freed the ball to Gabriel Jesus, and he fired it straight at the keeper. His finishing let him down a little bit. And in general, I think that was kind of it. I think Foden hit the crossbar as well, did he? Or fired it just over at one point. And really, Manchester City were just a better team. It was as comfortable as you think it was going to be. Individually, Bravo had very, very little to do, like literally nothing to do apart from maybe gather a couple of crosses, and any shots that Preston had didn't really trouble Claudio Bravo. Joao Cancelo, I thought he was pretty decent. We haven't really seen the full elegant kind of stride in Cancelo yet, but I think that's understandable. He needs to get a bunch of games in there. We did see a couple of moments of his darts from midfield, but in general, it's quite a reserved performance, which is understandable. He's still lacking a bit of match practice, a little bit of match sharpness, and he isn't playing yet, obviously, with the strongest 11 and all that kind of stuff. So it was a decent outing, a very 6 out of 10 performance for him. Nothing much wrong, nothing much right, just, you know, okay. For me, the pick of the bunch of defenders was Taylor Harwood-Bellis. I really like Eric Garcia, but you can definitely tell that he's not quite as strong physically or quite as fast as Taylor Harwood-Bellis. He's 17, he's a Stockport lad, and he's starting for Manchester City Football Club. It's like Burt heaven. 2 Stockport lads starting tonight with Phil Foden and Taylor Harwood-Bellis. Delighted for him, absolutely delighted. It's the kind of stuff you want to see as a Manchester City fan. It's the kind of stuff you want to see as a football fan in general. It always means a little bit more, and that's not to discredit Angelino and Garcia, both academy graduates, but it always means a little bit more when you see one come from the local area into your first team, because you think that could have been me if I was good at football. It just means a lot to see someone who's got a connection to the club from the local area break through and get into the first team, and you just genuinely love to see it. And Taylor was fantastic, honestly. I can't really think of a single mistake he made. One point he was spanned by his defender, but he got back. It reminded me of Kompany, actually. You can tell he's been around Vincent Kompany, like in the way he kind of holds himself and the way he kind of tries to intercept and the way he muscled back and won the ball after his mistake. He just genuinely reminded me of Vincent Kompany. He's nowhere near that level, of course, yeah. But it just reminded me of him. Physically, he's obviously very kind of big, he's very strong, a really good player, and he can pass the ball as well. And Eric Garcia, as we know, he reads the game so well alongside him. I think he wasn't quite as good as Taylor Harwood-Bellis, but he still had a good game. You know, he's an 18-year-old lad. He's got no right to be as composed as he is. And I think that you can see why Guardiola loves him. Even though he's not the fastest or the biggest, he does make up for that with a very intelligent reading of the game, very good positional sense. And those two, 100% should be starting in the next round. They're both more than ready to get the odd bit of first team football here, and I would not be worried if either of them had to drop into a Premier League game here and there. They're very good players. You can genuinely tell that the Checker Trophy last season and this season, whatever, has helped them a little bit with their learning curve, because they're learning from it. They're learning playing against men, and they're only going to get better. So fingers crossed that we see a bit more of them, because they both passed that test now with flying colours. Angelino, I thought, had a really good hour, a really good run out for Angelino. Obviously he's not perfect defensively. I put a controversial opinion on Twitter, and I stand by this. It's because I'm a big fan of Angelino, that for me, and I love Zinchenko, I really do, big disclaimer, but if Zinchenko, to me, Zinchenko is behind Angelino Mendy if they're both fit and raring to go, because Zinchenko is good defensively. He's okay defensively, but he isn't great going forward. Whereas I think even though you may lose a point out of 10 on Angelino defensively compared to Zinchenko, he's just got so much more going forward. He could have had an assist tonight. He probably should have had a couple. Gabriel Jesus let him down after one perfect cross. I forgot how good a cross he is. He offers so much going forward, so much natural width, that it more than makes up for his slight lack of defensive ability. I really like him. He's not just some mug, you know, but I think we forget because we're not seeing him much, and because he had that pre-season, he had a really bad pre-season, if we're being honest. But last season, he was like a very good left back that PSG wanted in the summer as well, and we got him. He was already playing in the Champions League. He was the best left back over in the Netherlands. He's not a nobody. He's a good left back, a good attacking left back who could only get better under Pep's tutelage, and I think he should be the backup for Mendy, because he enables to play in the way that we want to play. And Guardiola said that himself, that he wants to play with wing backs who can get really far forward and kind of spread the play. That's how he likes to play. Mendy's little cameo was decent. We saw he's absolute rasper of a left foot. We know how good he is at crossing. He's got a different style to Angelino. Angelino's like kind of more Beckham-y, kind of crossed whipness, where Mendy drills it with astonishing accuracy and pace. Either way, it's a decent run out for him as well, and it's good to see him on the road back to full recovery. In midfield, Gundogan just kind of dictated the game, controlled it as ever. David Silva as well. They both just kind of had a very easy night, really. Kind of strolled through the game as you'd expect. Foden had a decent night as well. He was all right. I think Foden's the kind of guy who needs a run of games to get his true form, which may be difficult for him. He could have scored tonight. He did hit the crossbar and had a couple of snapshots wide, and he kind of grew into influence a little bit more. It wasn't a standout performance, but it was decent. Bernardo was kind of shuttling about, as energetic as ever. Gabriel Jesus, I thought, was really good through the middle. Loads of skill, caused loads of problems for Preston. He was obviously a cut above their defence, and they didn't really know how to deal with him. The only slight letdown was his finishing was a little bit kind of off target in the second half, but he probably could have had a second and maybe a third with a little bit of luck. Sterling got really pissed off in that first off and just put them to bed, basically, and he was obviously miles too good for Preston, and he had a decent little run out as well. It was really good to see Adrian Bernabei get on. He had one lovely moment where he ran at the heart of the defence, cut it back. I think he found Gabriel Jesus eventually after a lovely little darting run, and we didn't get to see Alfred Dionka, which is a bit of a shame, but other than that, it was a fun performance. You know, I enjoyed this game because we got to see a little bit what makes this tournament so special. I really love the Carabao Cup because you get nights like this where you play a team like this and you see bunch of youth players, you see how they're getting on in terms of development, and you get to kind of just have a little bit of fun with the lineup. And it's always nice to see the players who, you know, are on the cusp of the first team. This was a good performance. It was a solid performance. I think the young lads have done themselves absolutely no harm whatsoever. I think we've learned a few things about a few players. Obviously, we as well. I think in general, I like it when we start a strong side. I do want our team to get to the final again. I do think winning is a habit. I think winning breeds winning, and I think having a taste of a trophy in late February potentially is a great boost for the end of the season. So I wanted to take this seriously, while at the same time finding space for the likes of Garcia and Harwood-Bellis and all that kind of stuff, because I think that is also very important. But in general, job done. We got through to the next round. We got no injuries. You know, I don't think we did. It didn't look like we did, touch wood. And we're through a fun night in general. And we've got a bit of match fitness with some of the players. What's not to like about that? Guys, let me know in the comments what you thought of the game. As ever, like, subscribe, comment, all the usual stuff. Go download football, because if not, you're a bunch of muppets. No, I'm joking. And I love you, and I'll see you later in a bit.
Offended everyone in this video.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just offend everyone.
Rude.
She's over there on the sofa as ever. Bye-bye.